every holiday season around this time of year. When you're out at grocery stores, at other locations throughout your community, you see many people outside those stores with a red kettle and a bell asking for donations through Salvation Army's Red Kettle Christmas campaign. And joining us now to talk about that campaign as it's running in 2021 is Major Timothy Meyer, a General Secretary of the Metro Detroit Area Commander and Regional Chief Operating Officer with the Salvation Army of Metro Detroit, with us now on the MegaCast. Major, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Tyler. Thanks for the invitation.
Appreciate having you on. So tell us about the 2021 Salvation Army Red Kettle Christmas campaign. What is the campaign all about? We see, the volunteers that are outside these different locations with the bell and with the kettle collecting donations. But what is this whole campaign centered around?
Well, we operate year-round in the Metro Detroit area, and in fact, the Salvation Army is throughout Michigan, throughout the whole United States, but I'm here to talk about the Metro Detroit area efforts. We began just about Thanksgiving time, and our fundraising goal for the Tri-County area is $8.3 million. We are on our way to achieve that. We've had a few bumps in the road, but we're out there. We have many folks, about 250 kettle sites where folks are trying to raise those funds. We also have other ways to give to the Salvation Army during that time. And we are just so grateful to the giving public that support us. Those funds, of course, go directly to help others who are in the Metro Detroit area.
We're joined by Major Timothy Meyer from the Salvation Army of Metropolitan Detroit, joining us today on the MegaCast. So obviously providing donations to those that are outside these various locations with the red kettles, collecting donations is one way that people can support the Salvation Army's Red Kettle Christmas campaign. But what are some other ways that people can support the cause this holiday season?
Well, last year when the pandemic hit, we realized we needed to have some other options for giving. In fact, we weren't even sure that we would be able to have kettles last year. We developed then the ability for folks to go up to those kettle stands, and there's a QR code that they can scan with their phone. There's also a NFC button that if you hold your phone near that, it will take you to the Salvation Army's website to make a donation so that folks can give digitally. They can do that, of course, online at salmish.org. You can even text the word gift, G-I-F-T, to 24365, which of course is representative of the Salvation Army's availability to those in need throughout the year. Folks also many will receive in the mail a letter from myself requesting funds. Folks still do enjoy giving by check. That is a wonderful way to give as well. And especially this time of year, folks who are savvy investors are looking for ways to help with their tax concerns at year end. The Salvation Army has many ways to give. We have planned giving professionals who can help with that. And the best way to reach them is by calling 877-SAL-MISH, M-I-C-H, and asking for someone in our planned giving department.
We're joined by Major Timothy Meyer, General Secretary, Metro Detroit Area Commander, and Regional Chief Operating Officer with the Salvation Army of Metropolitan Detroit, joining us today on the MegaCast. And so we mentioned earlier, as I introduced the interview today with you about the Red Kettle Christmas campaign, that those that are out with the red kettle and the bell at these various locations throughout Metro Detroit and in many other cities throughout Michigan and around the U.S. These are volunteers that are out there doing this. Is that correct in all locations, including Detroit?
Yeah, in most locations there are volunteers, and in a few locations we do have folks who we have paid to ring the bell for us. Those are folks who would be unemployed or underemployed, and so this is a way for them to raise a little bit of money this Christmas season, but also to help the Salvation Army to raise thousands of dollars. You mentioned volunteers, and this has been a very difficult year for volunteers. There's a way to do that, two ways to volunteer to help ring the bell for the Salvation Army. Both of them are at the same site. It's registertoring.com. And if you go there, you can click the button that takes you to become an in-person volunteer bell ringer. You select a location that's near your home or place of business, or perhaps a place where your family shops. You can request to ring the bells there. You also can set up your own virtual red kettle. That's something that began a couple of years ago, and it's very popular with folks who are not able to physically get out there and ring the bell. So at that same site, registertoring.com, you can start your own virtual red kettle, name it whatever you'd like, and invite business associates, friends, family members to join and help achieve your fundraising goal to help the Salvation Army help others.
We're joined by Major Timothy Meyer from the Salvation Army of Metropolitan Detroit with us today on the MegaCast. And so for those volunteers that do join the organization to volunteer for the Red Kettle Christmas campaign, what sort of commitment goes into volunteering to be out there ringing the bell, or in other capacities that they may volunteer?
Well, the primary thing this time of year, bell ringing, we'd ask for folks to make a 2-hour commitment. In some locations, they might want to ring a little bit longer. It does vary location to location. Throughout Metro Detroit, we have 12 Salvation Army Corps community centers who are doing bell ringing at area stores near their facility. And each one has the ability, most of them will have 2-hour shifts. There are some that ask for a little bit longer. Folks can volunteer to take multiple shifts. A family could adopt a red kettle at a store for an entire day, and just invite different family members or friends to help do that. So dress warmly. Some places are indoor, but most are outside. The weather today is very pleasant, but here in Michigan, we know that winter brings with it some cold, usually some frozen precipitation, and so you want to be dressed appropriately.
And so, Major Meyer, people want to know, and really when they donate to any organization, should be curious to know, when they make a donation to the Salvation Army through the Red Kettle Christmas campaign, who does this campaign benefit? Where do these funds ultimately go to help people in our community and throughout the coverage area here in Michigan and across the U.S. for the Salvation Army?
Well, unless someone designates a donation to go specifically outside of the area, all the donations that are received locally stay locally. And we're very pleased that through auditing, through very careful financial practices, we know that 86 cents of every dollar stays right here in Metro Detroit to help feed those who are hungry, to give shelter to those who have no place to sleep, to provide not only Christmas meals and toys for children and shut-in seniors at Christmas time, but year-round to help with things like utility payments and rent, and sometimes even medical expenses. There are all kinds of things that folks come to us for. And so the funds that are raised don't just help at Christmas time when we are visible, but enable us to minister year-round. We even have a legal aid clinic. And last year, 1,800 people came to us and were able to receive help with some very complicated legal matters. Folks who would not otherwise be able to go out and afford a lawyer and would go to a courtroom with fear and intrepidation, not knowing what they might encounter. Of course, most of that has gone online this year, but we still employ lawyers to be able to help with those legal needs.
We're joined by Major Timothy Meyer, the General Secretary, Metro Detroit Area Commander, and Regional Chief Operating Officer with the Salvation Army of Metro Detroit, with us on the MegaCast today. And Major Meyer, although the Red Kettle Christmas campaign, certainly especially late in the year, is one of the times where the Salvation Army's efforts for fundraising out in the community are most visible, what are some other consistently ongoing programs and other services that are provided through the Salvation Army?
Well, thanks for asking, Tyler. We have year-round, every single day of the year, food that is delivered to the streets of Detroit to people who are homeless or in homes where they simply don't have the funds to provide for their own nutrition. And so we have our Bed and Bread program that goes out every day of the year. There have even been days when the mail could not be delivered, when the Salvation Army bed and bread truck has gone into communities. At each of our core community centers, we not only have food pantries, but we have character building programs for children. That would be scouting type programs. We have programs for after school, programs for senior citizens, where not only do they socialize and have a meal together, but they learn practical skills like how to use new digital technology. It's one thing to provide someone with a phone or a laptop. It's another one to help them navigate something that they're totally foreign to, and getting them to learn. Many of the applications now for assistance are online, and so those are very necessary skills. We, of course, at all of our facilities have church services on Sunday, which are absolutely free of charge, and no one who receives assistance from us is required to go to those services, but we recognize the spiritual aspect of humanity as well. And so that is a wonderful time for spiritual and emotional care for folks in the community.
We're joined by Major Timothy Meyer, General Secretary of the Metro Detroit Area Commander and Regional Chief Operating Officer with the Salvation Army of Metropolitan Detroit. You can learn more information about all of the Salvation Army services by visiting salvationarmy.org. And so we've talked about other programs and services provided through the Salvation Army, much like the Red Kettle Campaign. Bell ringers are volunteers. Are there other volunteer opportunities that are available through your organization throughout the year beyond this campaign that if people want to get involved with your organization, they can do so?
There certainly are. Most every one of our core community centers throughout Metro Detroit have after-school programs, and often with that involves feeding supper to children who've come from school, are doing homework, doing some other activities. Often we'll have free music classes, and so we try to offer a meal for them. Those locations need volunteers to help prepare and serve those meals. Our bed and bread program that operates 365 days a year, and we serve about 3,000 to 4,000 meals per day on the streets of Detroit. We need volunteers to help make sandwiches and put those meals together. The pandemic has challenged us for that, so please, if you are not able to volunteer when you contact us at salmish.org, please be patient, because we do need help. Right now with the pandemic, we are trying to be very careful to protect everyone involved. And so we've ceased some of our volunteer activities for that. But of course, as you mentioned, we certainly need folks for Red Kettles. There are opportunities throughout the year, such as with our emergency disaster services team. They go to all kinds of events throughout the year, whether it's a barricaded gunman, apartment fire, a house fire, or even most recently serving the folks first responders at the Oxford school shooting scene. And so we do need volunteers and folks who are willing to learn and to do things that will help the community.
Well, Major, we appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us. Before we let you go, anything else that would be important for our audience to keep in mind this season of how they can get involved, or other ways that they can help through organizations such as yours in our community?
Well, the need, of course, does not cease at Christmas time, even though that's when we are most visible and when most people are most thinking about their neighbors in need. So I would encourage folks to realize that the Salvation Army helps year-round, and that we certainly are in need of funding year-round, to consider us perhaps for a year-end donation, and also to please keep us in prayer as we minister to some very hurting and needy people in Metro Detroit.
Major, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Tyler.